Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, find a way to win or find a way to lose. Roy Jones Jr. didn't really like the way the boxing community responded and reacted to the Eubank Jr. loss. Also, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to eat a grape while I'm talking. Eddie Hearn had some things to say. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I was watching that fight, Eubank Jr. and Smith, I honestly thought Eubank Jr., next generation, was going to knock Smith out probably within 4 or 5 rounds. I thought he would be the smarter boxer, keep him at the end of the jab, and make the fight easy. And just when Liam Smith would go on and start to become a bit discouraged and look to take risks, Eubank Jr. would find a way to counter, hurt him, and possibly stop him. But that's not what happened at all. Okay, now we saw what happened. Eubank Jr. getting knocked out, but the combinations that Liam Smith was throwing were pretty fast and was hard to really see the shots that landed. Now, I did see the 2 uppercuts and the hook. I did not see the elbow. Now, after, careful review, there was a serious elbow thrown. Now, I'm not saying the elbow is what ultimately caused the knockout, but it contributed because that elbow hit him, it hurt him, and it caused for him to dip down. You know what I'm saying? And take his eyes off of his opponent. But nonetheless, Liam Smith landed good shots. But the elbow did, makes you wonder, when you're in there fighting, right, and you're throwing shots, it makes you wonder, was Liam, we know there was some bad blood. No, but Liam Smith really trying to throw that elbow? I watched that clip about 200 times. And throwing a hook. Normally, when you throw a hook, right? Like me, southpaw, right? So if I throw it here, I'm not throwing it like this. You know what I'm saying? Like if I throw it, I'm not throwing it like this, so the elbow hits you. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming across even in the heat. And maybe I may punch down. Maybe I'll come across like this. But to throw it like this, you know what I'm saying? Like to just come across like this and hit with the elbow. Makes me say maybe he did it intentionally. It didn't seem like it landed on the cheek where that big mouse started to just grow out of his face, right? Serious contusion, man. But nonetheless, he was stopped. Roy Jones a little pissed off because Eddie Hearn does what he does. So the next gen was stopped. 4th round, his middleweight clash is what it is. Eubank had started to get back into the fight, man. And then, that knockout just kind of came out of nowhere. But, he was kind of, really, really relaxed. Too comfortable to me going straight back. So he had his chin tested. Liam Smith had his chin tested in the fight. But when you just look at what happened with the uppercuts, hook, elbow, ultimately, Eubank Jr., it is what it is. But Eddie Hearn, he had some things to say. So after the fight, Eddie Hearn, of course, he's always going to be critical of everyone. He doesn't like Eubank Jr. He was supposed to sign Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr. didn't sign with him. There was a photo up Eubank Jr. Sr. saw on the wall in the office. He asked Eddie Hearn to take the photo down. Essentially, that was a big deal to him, especially if his son was going to sign. There was a picture of him getting knocked down. And Eddie Hearn said that was one of his father's favorite photos, and he didn't want to take the photo down. Anyway, long story short, bad blood between Eddie Hearn, the Eubanks, and that's why people feel that Eddie Hearn knew Conor Benn was on those pads, but was okay with it and knew that Conor Benn had an unfair advantage because he was hoping Conor Benn would go in there and hurt Eubank Jr., knowing that Eubank Jr. had been weight drained. But that being said, Eddie Hearn goes out here and he says he saw what we knew, which is Liam Smith is very, very good, very composed, which he was. He says, great training team with Joe McNally and great boxing brain through the family and another guy who was completely lost in boxing. So, remember, the four Smith brothers, all of those guys were great amateurs, and they're well respected out there in the UK for what they did for boxing, amateur boxing, right? Then he says, technically, Eubank has never been great. Eddie Hearn is a trip, man. But what he always had is a fearless mentality, a great chin, and great engine. What he's done with Roy Jones is completely take all of those assets, right, away and try and build things that he hasn't got or he isn't capable of having. It was so novice in terms of defense, going back in straight lines with his chin up in the air, and he looked lost. Even in the ring walk, he has this unbelievable aura, Junior. And I felt for him because I feel like he's had a lot happen in his life, unfortunate things, and I think sometimes we don't realize how difficult it has been for him to deal with those things. And Roy Jones comes out because, he feels that, hey, Eddie Hearn was taking a jab at him or whatever, man. And he just goes on to say, warning to all boxers, avoid Roy Jones Jr. as a trainer. He says, never mind the elbow, just avoid him, avoid me as a trainer. He says, damn, if I can take all that away from a fighter via training, no wonder I raised so much hell in my day. That almost sounds like godly qualities, and I'm nowhere near what God is. I don't know what the hell Roy Jones is trying to say there, but what I know is he's frustrated. He feels like he's unfairly being blamed for Eubank Jr.'s loss, because Eubank Jr., for the most part, I had it 2-1 for Eubank Jr. going into the fourth. So Eubank Jr. did seem like he had, for the most part, control of the fight. It's just when Liam Smith was downloading data. And let me tell you something. When you're sitting there going against Smith, it's the four brothers and whoever's on the team. And these guys are downloading data, and they're sitting there processing, and they're feeding that to Liam Smith. And it's Eubank Jr. against those four, basically. And it is what it is. So Eubank Jr. is brave. But this is what makes me wonder, right? That if Liam Smith had really bad intention, was trying to be nefarious and be a cheat by throwing that elbow. He's saying now that he beat him. Of course, Liam Smith is the A side. Liam Smith is saying they can do the rematch. But he's kind of ducking Eubank Jr. because now he wants Eubank Jr. to come down to 157. We know Eubank Jr. can't get down to no damn 157. And my thing is, if you're going to fight him at 160 like you did, and you knocked him out, right? Why not sit there and say, look, it doesn't matter what weight I fight him at, I win because I'm the better fighter. Fight him at 168. You're not fighting for title shit. Fight him at 164. Fight him at 160 again. Why do you want to try to bring this man down another 3 pounds where obviously 160 really isn't a good weight for him? 168 is not even a good weight for him. He's just kind of in one of those spaces where for where he needs to be at to perform optimally, that weight division doesn't exist, like a 165 or something. But my thing is, why would you sit there now and call for the fight at a lower weight? I just don't. That just makes me wonder. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what they do. I would pray to God that Eubank Jr. and his team do not agree to fight him at 157. Like, why would you fight him at 157? He's going to drain you. He has all the advantages, and he should. He won the fight. But I just think if they're going to do the rematch, keep everything the same. Don't change anything. The ring walk, the payday and all that, fine. But the weight, nah, man. I don't agree with that. But that being said, we'll see what they decide to do, man. But that elbow, everyone's going to have an opinion on it. I didn't see it. But now that I've had a chance to watch the video, man, the clip, nah, man, I think Liam Smith, he threw that elbow on purpose. Just looking at it. And there was, like I said, a lot of anger, a lot of disdain for each other. And I just think I can see why he did that. Eubank Jr. is not a dirty fighter. But it is what it is. But leave your comments below, like and subscribe to the channel. Consider donating. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. And as always, I'm in the breeze.